What's up, y'all? Welcome to Three Brothers and a Shot of Milk. And well, hold on. First off, hit that notification bell, hit that subscription button. Make sure you like and comment on this post because we trying to get our likes up so we can make this money. Now that the business is out the way,
Trying to make
we're
some money.
here.
Got 4 hungry mouths to feed.
At least we're here to talk about if you smell what Black Adam is cooking.
And you basically smell a lot of it because he fries almost everyone who comes on screen with him.
And it smells
Serving on so many
delicious.
Okay, stop with the tongue. Stop with the tongue.
It's a lot.
The
And
Rock does that
to the camera.
He flicks.
Like
Okay.
All right. Let's give our spoiler-free thoughts on Black Adam, and then we'll jump in for the deep dive. Let's talk about this synopsis real quick from IMDb. Nearly 5,000 years after he was bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash this unique form of justice on the modern world.
I'll go first. I enjoyed it, but I also enjoyed it the first time I saw it when it was called Terminator 2.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
But that Terminator 2 is like top 5 best movies, so that's not a knock.
Yeah, but Terminator 2 is much better than this movie.
Terminator 2 is much better than most of the superhero movies that's come out in the last 5 years.
So, for what it's worth, that's what this movie was.
I'll jump in next. I enjoyed it. To me, I thought it was like on par with Marvel Phase 1 movies, like the first movies. I'd say this was not better than Iron Man, better than Iron Man 2. And I'd say everything's been
yeah.
And I would say I would leave it right there with the first Thor and the first Captain America. The first outing. If this wasn't such a super-rated, saturated world, I think, it might be kind of a game changer, maybe, sort of, kind of. But right now, it was good. I thought it was good. I had a great time in The Rock. It's The Rock. It's The Rock. Mm-hmm. I love The Rock, if you haven't figured that out yet. Chris?
I loved it. So I talk about a lot of the tropes that I hate, but one trope I do love is when the oppressed people, there's a power shift, and the oppressed people have power.
Oh yeah,
it gets me going.
Oh man, that's romantic. You got me.
We'll come back.
That's what it is for me. So that's it did it for me. I love this movie.
Yeah, we got to come back to that.
I enjoyed it overall. It was honestly a paint by numbers type of movie.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Other than that, it was all right. It was a decent movie.
This movie is like Red Lobster, man. Like, you go in, you know what you want. It's always good, but it's Red Lobster, man. It's Applebee's. Yeah, it's the biscuits hit.
Red Lobster.
The biscuits hit.
Biscuits. I get
let's do our deep dive. We're gonna do this. This is go in, man.
Yeah, let's jump. Let's jump.
Let's
jump in. Let's just jump in. So we got freaking we're 5,000 years ago, BCE, before Christ ever. Is that the acronym? What's the E?
Ever. That's right.
Ever? Is it ever?
Existence.
In existence. So basically, got a king that's enslaved his own people, searching for this rock that he can put to a crown and pretty much
the name
get
of the rock is
Ethereum or Eternium?
Unattainium.
Unattainium.
God,
you gave me finger guns for that?
You can't make. Well, that's what it was really called. You can't even make
finger guns for that.
Yeah, pepper pots. Really? You should be saying yourself.
Wait,
I don't know. Yes! I don't know who you are anymore.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
I don't know who
man.
He's trying to attain the unattainable.
Right, the unattainable. And basically, we're getting we hear a narration. The kid's telling this story, this legend of this savior, Black Adam, this boy who stood up to the king, almost united a whole civilization. was brought down to be killed because he did so. Instead, he disappeared.
Then he throws up the dynasty sign because he's in Rockefeller
The
Records.
Rock,
Yo,
baby.
Rockefeller, the Rock, baby. Blueprint,
in the
best
building, baby.
album ever made.
Ever.
Hip-hop.
Jack,
Come
you're not
on,
a fan-
brother.
you're not a fan
It's
of
a
Rockefeller?
Yeah, no,
takeover.
yeah, I'm with you. Keep going. I'm waiting for this
Man.
movie to start still.
So was I at this point. So then the kid's brought down, given the power of Shazam. All that happens, and basically he takes down the king as well. And the whole thing falls apart. We're in modern day now, and we're in what's this country called again?
Kandahar?
Kandahar? Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Something like that.
And
It's like
basically,
a Middle Eastern vibe.
yeah.
It is.
And Chris, did you notice they mentioned Intergang?
Yeah, I did know they mentioned Intergang,
Yes.
and I almost thought they were gonna have a callback to Dark Side because they had those cycles that floated, which
Yeah.
is very Intergang-ish.
Oh.
I was so confused by the placement of this movie. Are we jumping? Are you going linear here?
Just jump.
I don't
No,
want to
man,
jump.
Let's just talk. Let's just
All right.
talk.
All right. So, spoiler alert: this movie is connected to the DC movies that we've seen. Now, without
Ish.
we know right off the bat, Amanda Waller's put together this team, right? It's not Task Force X, but she's kind of. And what's the name of the group?
Can I jump in? Justice Society.
Justice Society. And what
Wait,
stupid?
Can I just wait? I just want to jump in real quick, and then you can go. I will say that so far, because of DC's missteps, it's not a strong continuity like Marvel. Like things are grabbed and things are placed. What came before, what came after, I think it's as needed. I don't know. Yeah,
All
it's
I
not
know,
like Marvel.
all I can go off of is what they're showing me, and what they're showing me is Amanda Waller is somehow in charge of this faction too, the Justice Society, and this was really stupid to me right off the bat. This team has a name. They're the Justice Society, and yet none of them really know each other or have worked with each other before. They're not exactly a group. They're just kind of like whoever was thrown together for this particular venture.
Dr. Fate and Hawkman.
And
But
Hawkman.
Dr. Fate wasn't even part of it at that point. He'd been retired for like however long, right? He's coming back, so
Yeah.
he's not even part of the Justice. So it's really just Hawkman's band of misfits who he's found this week.
But I got the impression the Justice Society had kind of been retired. Like they're not.
It
like
was, but then why you hit it with like fist to the air moniker? This is our title. We're the Justice Society. Literally, you got a group of 4 people on this team, one of which who's just coming back after whoever long he's been gone, and the other 2 are completely new rookie cadets that this is their first venture ever.
And one is really terrible at it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like so cheap how bad he is at it, and so I'm like, okay, Justice Society. It's not exciting at all. They should have just had no name at all, in my opinion. Anyways, anyways, that wasn't even my point, though. My point was this: this world is an established world based off of the information they're telling us, because Amanda Waller's putting the whole team together, and then we're seeing tech that I was so confused by the hover bikes and this whole like. The unobtainium that exists, and they're implemented it into weapons and vehicles and stuff. And I'm like, what world is this? Because we know this world. This is Batman's world. This is Flash's world.
It's not.
But it is.
It is not. This is
no. The post-credit scene tells us it is.
It's loosely connected. It's not. It's kind of like comic books. How Batman struggles to fight Solomon Grundy and then shows up and like beats Darkseid. It's like it's loosely connected, but it's not like.
But that's what this movie was, kind of like a loose meat sandwich, kind of falling apart as you're trying to consume it.
I wonder if there's a cut, if there's a longer cut, if there is more reference to Apocalypse and Darkseid and stuff like that.
Probably
what
not.
difference would it make?
Well, I mean, we just know that Intergang, that's where Intergang gets their tech from, right?
No, I think it was a nod. Honestly, I think DC right now, they don't have their world together, so they're making movies that are loosely connected, but they're all standalone. They're all like, you have to almost look at them like standalone with some cool like cameos. They're not like the MCU.
And so the movie starts, and you got Tomb Raider girl with her brother playing music that's in every other superhero movie. Why? Okay, cool. And she goes to find this crown that has literally been in a cave with an open door for 5,000 years and no one else has stumbled across it?
It was
What?
it was super easy.
I mean, like, what?
It was barely an
And then, like,
inconvenience.
and then there are literally thousands, hundreds at least, maybe not thousands, but there are hundreds of guards instantly. The second she gets in danger, she says Shazam, and Black Adam appears there. And then there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guards that he's just tearing apart. And I'm like,
wait. Can we like
wait, but I'm
can we,
like,
but you're fast forwarding through the reveal. Like you're like, can we talk about the movie?
My question is, he's there to collect a thing that no one has been able to find for 5,000 years. And the second she says Shazam, there's 100 people in the room.
Well,
and where did they come from? It was like she came
her.
through a cave.
No, wait.
Coming from,
wait, because I think they were always there because Ishmael was one of them.
Then why didn't he take the crown? Why was it sitting there? How was it sitting there?
Because maybe she had the information that she needed to find it. Let her find it. Let her take the risk. And when she gets it, you know, it's easier than doing it myself, having someone else do it and then shooting them and taking it from them.
Yeah, but listen, it was sitting right there in plain sight.
It wasn't. It was hovering in suspended animation. He wasn't.
Oh, you mean I gotta pitch my eyes 45 degrees north of my level view to see the thing? Yes. Okay, come on. That was like so lame right off the top, but all right.
Okay, so a suspension of disbelief is required in going into anything that's supernatural or magical. We can say the same thing of the opening of a freaking like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
But listen, dude, but I'd buy it. She's like reading the hieroglyphics that nobody else can understand, except for the guys right behind her reading it better than her. And you're like, what?
Well, who's reading it better than her?
The guy who goes, it says you should turn back.
But that was on her team. The guy that died, the guy that was dropped from the cliff at the end when they went.
No. The villain.
She was on the ground about to get shot, and this is convenient, but she was like looking what was in front of her. It wasn't like that. They weren't looking for that text.
I'm not even talking about that. Before she's even reading the text on the floor, she's reading all the stuff on the walls, and the guy behind her, who ends up being the main villain, who was also looking for the crown because that was his family's thing, who only hooked up with her so he could find the crown, is reading the text on the wall better than her, and his whole team of 100 people are actually in the cave when they're there. See, so you're like, how was he not finding the thing?
I didn't get that she was reading it better than her. I didn't get that. I got that she was kind of leading them.
Okay, okay, all right. I'll rescind that one. Kind of. Keep going.
So she's leading them through this cave to find this ancient relic. Everything Jack said so far, and he Chris, he just skipped over one of the dopest, like freaking The Rock shows up. He like bypassed that to talk about who cares about this crown and who can read.
He catches the bullet and looks at the bullet.
On. Your magic. This is why we're here. We're not here for the depth of ancient literature. We're here to watch The Rock
in this film
beat people up. And if you came here for a history lesson, then you went to the wrong freaking movie.
Yeah, you're right. So okay, so Cooking Man comes out.
Yeah, so he comes. Black Adam comes out, and
what are we calling him though? He's not Black Adam.
It's like Teth Adam. Teth.
Which means
I don't know.
I don't know.
Cool.
I even look it up. Probably means something scary. He comes out and he just starts laying these people to waste just because they're shooting at him. Like there's nothing personal here. He's just going, and he goes to work. I love this. I love seeing the display of power, man.
I agree. This scene was incredible.
Incredible.
And it's what I love most about the movie. I'm like, you have a guy who, for all intents and purposes, is supposed to be a villain and villainous, and he is mercilessly just destroying people.
Yes. But we see he doesn't take out the woman who summoned them. She's not a threat. He can tell that she is not someone who is coming at him. So he does have a code. He has a moral code. Mm-hmm. And I love when he was outside and then they did the slow motion where you saw him. He was able to think and like strategically place the propeller and all this stuff around.
Yeah. Oh.
Just for fun. Like we saw him, he can electrocute 30 people at the same time. So anything outside of that, you're just having fun today. You're just stretching. I thought that was freaking dope.
Can we stop and just talk about The Rock? Because
Yes.
look, I'll tell you this. I've never been so inspired by a man's appearance as I have seeing The Rock and Black Adam. Now, look, it sounds funny, but if you
Shut up,
lift
Rich.
weights,
Rich, your thoughts are screaming right now.
Rich,
No,
I know you're waiting to say something crazy, but look, hear me
Ain't
out.
nothing. Okay,
When you
go
bang,
on.
when you lift weights and you bang weights, and you see someone who's like shoulders are massive, traps are massive, you're like, I
Mhm.
need that in my life.
Do you? How bad?
I mean, I know I was deadlifting extra heavy the very next
I
day.
did go to the gym and go extra hard because here's the thing: The Rock did not have a padded suit under his costume.
But he did have shoulder pads and stuff.
He did not.
Nope.
Yeah, look at he said his shoulder was built out with another layer on top of the suit and stuff. He
That
had
was
tons of texture.
wait no. That was the suit's texture. He didn't have added muscle built
Yeah,
into the
no,
suit.
no. It's just the texture of the suit, but a lot of
But
texture on the suit.
but this dude brought in, and he said it. He said in an interview that they gave me a padded suit, and it wasn't that I didn't want to wear it. It looked weird because you're enhancing my muscles. That I looked ridiculous in this thing.
Yeah, he would look like the Hulk, I'm sure.
It
Yeah,
looked
he looked like a Halloween costume.
Henry Cavill's in amazing shape. Most people would die to have that physique, but to have that type of look in cloth, you have to have such muscle separation for spandex to actually form to your muscle. You need to be straight up bodybuilder
Well,
to
you need
have
to be
that.
the Rock.
You need to be.
Rock.
Listen, the Rock came in like y'all are playing at it.
Yep.
No, this guy was straight out of like every 80s action film. I was like,
Yes,
yeah,
man.
a big guy playing a big guy.
Yes,
That's my goal in life.
and
I want to just be imposing and move heavy weights. That's
He didn't
it.
have to do anything to have presence and power, and he had it in every single shot. Almost, arguably, whatever. It was great as far as that was concerned.
So then basically he gets hit with a weapon that has some of that element, that rock we're talking about, because their tech is infused. Unatanium was what we're calling it. And we see that it hurts him, and then eventually, things blow up and knocks him out. They make you see a guy who is probably doesn't speak your language, is deadly.
What, does he, Lawrence? Does he speak the language? Because that's a huge problem I had.
Wait, well, we're gonna get there. But my
he's
thing is
magic, so the magic kicked in.
Well, my thing is, why would you bring him home and put him in your son's bedroom?
Well, how do they lift him?
You bring him, yeah.
You leave him there. You don't bring an atomic bomb, man. Look what I found. Let's just hope it don't go off. Now, this is what I would have enjoyed because we know Shazam. We saw the movie. We pretty much know that he has that power set at least, and it would have been cool if he was sitting there hearing the son talk to him, the boy talk to him, and he doesn't understand it, and you see the power of wisdom kick in. Yeah. Wisdom is his superpower as well. And it'd been nice to see him learn the language super quick. That would have been cool.
Well, that's kind of what I thought they were doing with the TV in the background playing, but
no, he was speaking English
before he broke. He was speaking English before he walked out the room.
I know. The second he woke up from being out, he was speaking it.
And it would have been great. And it would have been just a quick moment of just going into his mind or just close up on his face as the boys whoop, start sounding like words.
Yeah, you would just hear it sound like exactly. They could have explained it in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
The kid's talking to him, and it sounds like Charlie Brown. Then little by little, it starts to be like Usual Suspects, where he's walking the lamp, then all of a sudden it becomes clear, and bam.
Yeah, and if they wanted to have fun with it, The Rock could have had a slight accent for 2 seconds until he worked the accent out, and then all of a sudden he's speaking regular because he has the power of wisdom. Anyways, so he doesn't use doors, Rich. He just walks through this poor apartment. By the end of this movie, there's a poor apartment with an amazing structural foundation.
Yeah, that apartment is fire
because it did not fall. It just took a beating and still stood. He walks through the walls and zaps the TV. We have kind of a fish out of water. He's kind of like Drax a little bit, right? He doesn't understand sarcasm. He doesn't get humor. He doesn't get any of that stuff.
Who's going to teach the boy violence?
Who's going to... I see, I'm such an 80s kid. Like that does it for me.
But that's what
That
I'm
does
talking
it
about.
for me.
Like it was like the whole their relationship was the whole Terminator.
I mean,
T2,
with the whole
you know?
tagline thing,
Yeah.
it was almost too on the nose. It was homage to Terminator because it was too on the nose for it not to be.
And I'm
Yeah.
cool with them lifting something. Like for us, we feel it, but we forget that we're old and Terminator came out like 30 years ago. So it's okay if they're using the movie that came out 30 years ago that isn't in most people's forefront of
Yes, I
people's minds.
have to correct something. Unatanium is the element in Avatar.
Oh, I thought you said I think me being joking.
Right. That's what I was
Yeah, that's what
thinking
he
the
talking the whole
element was
time
actually
too.
called in this one.
It's
The element
Eternium. I was thinking
Eternium.
He-Man the whole time. I'm saying like
Yes.
Yeah, he did
Eternium.
tell me.
Eternium.
Yeah, and they compare it to kryptonite. It's like
Yeah.
Earth's kryptonite on some level. Eternium.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So the Rock pretty much, or Black Adam, what's the difference? Goes out and starts just laying more of these mercenaries to waste. You know, they got the kid, he's about to hurt the kid, and I wish they would have landed this more of why The Rock has a soft spot for this kid, and it would have made it different than Terminator. And I know it would have screwed up their big reveal at the end, which I don't think they needed to have that reveal because they spoiled it in their own trailers anyway. But the
Yep.
fact that this is a father whose son died,
Yep.
that's the reason why he cares for the boy,
Right.
which is 10 times better than the reason why the Terminator cares for John Connor. He was programmed to.
Right.
But Black Adam was like, my son.
Right.
I wish, and they spoiled that in the trailer, right? They let us know like that he was the
trailer.
father in
Yep.
the trailer.
Yeah.
They show you the scene where he's watching the kid get cut down.
So I'm like, if it
They-
would have been a cool reveal.
It was
if they didn't
actually
show it to us.
it was actually more interesting in the movie the way they did it because the kid blips away, but in the trailer they just show the actual what the story you get. You know, they show the kid about to be beheaded and then
And
they
his
show
body
him
just right.
screaming.
Yeah.
So they actually in the trailer they just fast track the 2 hours of the movie and tell you the story inadvertently. Oh, the kid still dies.
And it would have been cool if we didn't know that, because then by the end I can still go, that's why you care for the boy so much.
Yeah, the only interesting part there was maybe the fact that the kid was actually Shazam for a while, and that's what the statue was about. You know,
that would have been a cool reveal. That it wasn't that you guys got me wrong. It's like, no, that wasn't even me.
Right.
well, they did that.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool not knowing that,
Not to know it ahead of time.
not to know that he was the father going forward.
Right.
Okay.
Still.
But so basically, the Justice Society is called. Amanda Waller's like, look, man, I can't call the Justice League because they can't tell Black Adam no killing because everybody in the Justice League kills people. So,
Yeah, well, that's true.
so
What a great point.
you
Like
can't have-
literally that Wonder Woman scene where she's literally road pizzas the guy's head into the brick wall and this blood stain on
No, the Snyder cut is not part of continuity. They went.
well,
and said,
whatever continuity
she's
exists.
killed before.
There.
Black man's killed. Superman snaps next. They can't go to Black Adam and say, "Hey, sir, calm it down."
Right.
That's not even what they did. The Justice Society rolls up on Black Adam. This is how the scene actually plays out. Adam is standing there. He's not attacking them. He's standing there calmly, real posed up and listening.
The Rock's going to pose, Jack.
Of course he is. But this is the problem with the film. And so the anti-hero Black Adam, who's killing people, but he's only killing villains. For all intents and purposes, he's only killing oppressors right now.
Yeah.
The heroes come down to defuse the situation, but what they actually do is they just throw carousel on top of a little flame, and they don't say, "Hey man, wait, hang on." They don't say, "Hey man, can we bring this down a notch and talk?" Because when they actually do that, 3 scenes later, The Rock's character Black Adam says, "I'll listen."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then they double down. They do the same asinine thing they do the first time. The first time they say, "You're either going to come with us as our prisoner and be locked up for the rest of existence, or we're going to kill you." And then they hit him first. So he's defending himself the whole time. Yeah. Tearing the whole city apart is the Justice Society's fault. That's the second time they come to talk to him, the woman says, "Listen, please be better. Don't fight. Just hear him out." And Black Adam says, "Okay, I'll listen." And then they double down. They say, "Listen, we're gonna either imprison you in our little cell, or we're gonna kill you again. This is Hawkman, right?
No,
Twice.
you're skipping so many beats here. You're
No,
skipping everything.
I'm fast tracking.
Yeah, Hawkman is like,
Do
stop killing these people. He's like, no. Hawkman's like, fine, we'll interrogate these guys. You drop them from the sky. Like Black Adam is showing you, like, I don't care about property
No,
damage.
but
I don't care about none of this stuff.
They go out of their way.
I don't care about
But he doesn't kill him. Yeah, but listen, but they made Black Adam smart. They made Black Adam smart. They go, when he drops the guys from the sky, he goes, literally, that's why I waited for you to get up there with me, because I knew
was
you.
Beautiful, except he kills like a guy in 10 seconds, like in 5 more minutes.
Those people deserve to die, and I'm glad he did it. Black Adam is a bad guy, and he's not bound. This is why this content for me was cool, because he's an anti-hero, but he's not bound by some crazy moral code. Right. Someone pisses him off, crosses him, you gotta go, bro. That's it. Yeah. You get thrown into the sky.
But to Jack's point, to say this, the Justice Society shows up and just picks a fight with this innocent guy. No, they don't. They see what they did. This guy's first of all, he's breaking the law. He's catching wreck on
whose laws he breaking? The laws of man? This is Black Adam we're talking about.
Yeah. No, wait. Laws are government.
So yes. So like I'm not saying the Justice Society are right. I'm saying to say what they're doing doesn't make any sense and it's asinine.
The way that was scripted made no sense, because they did not walk there trying to defuse the bomb. They walked in there, and whoever wrote that scene said, all right, now we got to get to the fight. And they just let him pick a fight. Instead of what might have been interesting is, because listen, Black Adam was not a villain. He was an anti-hero.
They don't know that. They just know a guy shows up with Superman's powers.
The conflict is he's still the conflict for the heroes, right? So if the heroes were heroic in trying to defuse a bomb, but Adam's so lit up, he starts the incident, then you at least have the hero still being heroic. But what happened was you had Adam doing everything in this movie heroic. He was the hero. He wasn't even an anti-hero.
Yes, but you have to listen to the given circumstances. You have a group of heroes that are given intel that this monster from 5,000 years has awakened, this unstoppable force that is not to be reasoned with, has woke up, and you got to put him down. He's already destroying this city.
Well, then why talk at all? Just go and hit him. But they didn't go and hit him. They stopped and talked. They said, we're going to imprison you or kill you. And so he defended himself after they started then hitting. If he's Doomsday, you don't try to talk to it.
You're under arrest. No. Then we fight. Then we fight. You're either going to be imprisoned or else.
All right.
Listen, this isn't a reach. This isn't a reach here. This isn't a far reach.
I think it was a purpose decision to make it like that, because the Justice Society wasn't in the right in what they were doing. Yeah, they thought they had the moral high ground, but they really didn't. Because when they rolled up, the lady was like, "Oh, you're showing up now? Where were you the past 21 years when we needed help? Now you show up because we have someone overpowered?"
No, that's right. But I'm saying that it wasn't asinine for them to show up the way they did with the information they had. And then, yes, we see them get their comeuppance. We see them learn, like, where have you guys been? You think you're the heroes, which is great. I think
they did it like that to make them a little bit unlikable. Hawkman?
They were very unlike, but that's my point. They were.
I like Hawkman. I like Hawkman.
Wow, you like him because he was black, and only because he was black.
And Rich, and
such a freaking Boy Scout that didn't get out of here. I did not.
He wasn't even a Boy Scout. Hawkman didn't do one logical thing in the whole script.
You just sitting there like, stop doing what you're doing and come with us, bro. Come on, man.
Go back to your copy of a carbon copy of an X-Men mansion with the black bird.
Okay, can we talk about that though? Yeah. That was a straight ripoff. Wow. I was like, Professor X School of Gifted Youngsters.
Right?
Yeah, is this Westchester? You can tell me it's Louisiana, but I know this is Westchester.
Y'all didn't want to do any other shot of a jet coming out of a mansion. Y'all really wanted to do
exactly like that
from the cartoon.
They sat there on the whiteboard. They were like, "Hey, remember X-Men? all that,
Let's
but
do
just
that.
change
Let's
it a
do
little
that.
bit.
Should we
Just
change it? No,
change it a
no, no,
little
no,
bit.
no. That's good. Let's just do that. That's it.
I had a major I had a major issue with the Justice Society. I felt like if the way Amanda Waller laid out this threat, why are you bringing noobs? Like why? Like
Right?
I get Wind. What's her name? Wind.
Cyclone.
I get why
Cyclone.
Cyclone because they said she's brilliant. So I said, okay, you have the computer, and if she needs to get in, she can get in. Atom Smasher's a liability. He's going to get you sued because
Yeah.
he's falling around and killing people by accident.
Yeah.
Right. And
He's terrible.
they're saying they knew who they were sending this team after. I understand if you got a team of like 6 to 10 people and a couple of them are new additions because you're like, we need all of the help we can get. But
And how
Yeah.
did they know? Like, I didn't understand that. Like, how did they know that Black Adam was coming out here? So that means the tomb was the tomb or the prison has been known about for centuries.
forever.
He made a big.
They,
he
well,
was
they
very
said they
loud.
had tablets from there that actually told the rest of the story.
That's true.
So they had already raided the tomb and wait, this is the best. I'm sorry. They had actually already raided the tomb and left
The crown.
the crown.
Come
Yeah.
on, bro. Come
Been
on,
sitting there
bro.
forever.
So many.
No,
I'm
that
sorry.
doesn't make sense.
That's what that
That
information.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
Right.
make sense. It
That
just
doesn't
doesn't
make
make any damn sense. The whole movie is off to the races with not making sense when you actually kind of examine it. But okay, cool. Listen, I still enjoyed it, but the
But-
movie was like this is how thin it was. It was a paper thin that had then been dunked in water. That's how thin this movie
It's
was.
very-
The Rock
this-
smashed through it.
That's
Yeah, the
all.
Rock was
But
great.
that's all we need. That's what we want in a Hulk movie. We don't need the extra stuff. We just want to see.
I mean,
Hulk smash.
the best scene in the entire movie happens after the movie's over.
Yeah.
Best scene in most of that scene beat out a whole lot of content this year.
Yeah, I mean,
including
that- 'cause
every
it-
Disney Plus.
Because it means a lot of repercussions, right? For what can happen with the DCEU is
Well, I mean, or it means nothing. And the Rock, they just said the Rock got his wish. I don't. There's no plan in place because if there was a plan in place, there'd be a plan
There's
in place.
no plan in place.
Because here's the thing, and this is how you know we're talking about the end, guys. For those listening, this is how you know that it was tacked on, and this is probably where Jack's like it made no sense. Because if Black Adam is as bad and as big of a threat as you guys thought he was in the beginning, why are you not sending in your big gun?
Why wasn't he the first choice?
Yeah.
Well, Amanda
If
Waller.
he's a favor anyways, right?
Now,
Now I had major problem with Amanda Waller being the one who calls Superman in. You got to be insane or kidding me. Are you joking me?
why?
Like-
Well, first, now Superman works with anybody who's down to do good. So, and she says I have to call in a favor, right? Those who give favors are the ones in authority, not the ones who take.
She probably called the
favors.
president. Had the president call like Superman.
Yeah, like Superman will work with Superman has worked with Lex Luthor if it meant for the better good. This is comics.
It just felt very odd to me that Amanda Waller, the way the scene was depicted, was the puppeteer bringing Superman in. But whatever, Superman gets her.
I didn't. Wait, let's go back. I didn't read it.
You didn't need the Waller in that
Right.
at all for him
Yes,
to still descend.
I didn't buy it that way. Superman has no problem allowing people to think they're more powerful than they are. He doesn't have an ego. He doesn't like, no, Waller, you don't tell me. Well, he doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna come in and defuse this thing. You can say whatever you want to say. Man of Steel, you don't control me, and no one ever will. But if these cuffs make you feel better, sure, I'll wear them. This is for you. So for me, it didn't feel un-Superman like.
That kid's room was weird to me.
Can we stay with Jack? Are we talking about the end or his posters on the wall?
No,
you're
right.
all over the place.
You're right.
That's why I recap to keep us
All right
in some kind of structure. Or else we're talking about the kid's room.
This train has gone off the tracks.
Man, you drove it off the tracks,
right.
but it's a wonderful ride, just like this movie. I can't tell you if it stayed on the road, but man, when we flying, we flew before we crashed and burned. But no, let's talk about the kid's room real quick. You talking about all the DC?
Well, how much time had elapsed between the last bit of what world are we even in? I wasn't sure.
Well, if this is after everything we saw,
we're looking at essentially, the Miss Marvel where you have whole
and But yeah, the Justice League saved the world and actually would have been around way more than Captain Marvel did in the Marvel universe. She like saved the world in the 80s and disappeared for 30 years and then fought an alien off planet. Here, the Justice League saved the world, probably had a press conference. Superman's back in Metropolis. Wonder Woman's probably an ambassador. It actually makes more sense for there to be like posters and images.
Yeah, there was a lot of comics, a lot of posters. There was actually a picture of Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
It had that and toys, and there was almost too much content.
That's what would happen. It would be the 7 from Voice.
This actually makes way more sense than it did in Marvel. Yeah. I don't. Why does this rub you the wrong way?
It didn't rub me the wrong way. It just felt like that scene in Minority Report where they're talking about how there was, I forget what they used a term when he walked into the bedroom and there was all the pictures of the kids, and he goes, "It's there's a word. He used a really specific word. Someone out there is listening or watching this, and they're screaming the word at the.
I know the scene you're talking about. I just don't remember the words for it.
Right. It was like an indecent amount of content that supports.
Okay, first of all, time out. You're talking about child pornography and comparing it to memorabilia, and
talking about the gratuitous.
Look at my wall right now.
I think you're done.
Superheroes are pretend, and look at all of our backgrounds. Imagine superheroes were real.
Look.
My question is, how does it exist though? How does all that exist within how many years had passed? 2 years?
It could have been a year. It could have been 6 months, and these people would have started making T-shirts and posters and toys.
The
second Barack started running, you can get a Barack Obama Funko Pop and posters to put on your wall.
But you're also in a third world country where getting those resources is probably harder.
Is it?
Of course.
Why? Smuggling somewhere. Yeah.
Import, export. Okay, but now you're smuggling content that's already scarce there. And
I don't know how this country works. We can add a narrative to it, or we can just accept.
We know they have a FedEx. We know they have major brands. We saw them going through the town. There was major brands there.
I wasn't given the impression it was third world. I was given the impression these people came in and started having authority, or like their government fell apart. I didn't get the idea like they were just this impoverished nation. They just under a different authority.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, this kid likes comic. I mean, Jack, if Superman touched down in 2 weeks, you can buy a T-shirt with the S in stores. In New York City, a day.
Yep.
A day. Flag all over the place.
What are you trying to say?
This is where you start nitpicking. This is where you start nitpicking.
But when content's so thin, it's hard not to start.
This was the part that made sense. This is real world. Like Chris said, these people are fake, and we have them in the backgrounds in our rooms. Imagine if they existed.
Let me stop derailing it. Let's talk. Let's plow ahead through this content. Are we in the end or the beginning?
I don't know, Jack. You let us all over the place.
Let's pick up from. Okay, so we have a couple battles with them. The kid gets taken. The mom is like, "You guys got to work together." Blah blah blah. Save my son. They go back and they go back and try and save the kid. Wow, do they save the? And then they save the kid. And then The Rock is like, The Rock tells the story. We get the big reveal that it was the son that was really the champion. The son gave the power.
Wait, can we pause there? I loved that flashback. I loved seeing the son say Shazam, and the dude that played the champion was the dude that plays the older version of The Rock and Young Rock. So that was really cool that he brought him in. And I love that Egyptian version of their costume back then. I like all of that, and I like that a lot. Keep going. Keep going.
So then The Rock tells a story. Black Adam tells a story. He explains the pain of what happened, how he lost his son, how he lost his wife, how he inherited the powers, and that he used the rage to destroy the king and everyone. And then he decides, you know what? I'm consumed with this anger, consumed with this rage. I'll go with you, and I'll say the word. And he says it. He says Shazam, and we have like a Captain America, Chris Evans type.
Wait, go back. Dang, you're flying. You are flying. But the big thing was...
He's recapping the movie, and I guess we'll just spitball it again.
I mean, because
real quick recap. Here's
well,
what's happening.
everyone watching this part saw the movie, so they're probably good.
Or
But
they're sitting here going, "Wait, what's
what
going on?"
happened?
What?
When he lost control and destroyed like that whole freaking city,
Yeah.
and then the wizards entrapped him.
Mhm.
First of all, the wizard. I appreciated this. I don't know how connected this is to anything, but I love that they showed Jaimin Hansu's face. Like they
Yeah.
gave me the same guy in Shazam.
Yep.
They didn't just say a wizard and made it like, is it not? Because I could have saw them doing that thing of keeping it vague because they don't want to connect the movies. I was so happy they showed us the actor's face. This is in the same world. He is the
Shazam.
sixth chair. Right, but DC, they don't like The Rock did everything in his power not to talk about Zachary Levi and the Shazam movie that's coming out like top of next year to keep these things separated. So they could have easily showed the wizard from behind and not gave you anything to connect the movies. There's a bunch of superhero posters in that room. Shazam ain't in there. Like they went out of their way to keep these things separate. And I was happy at least we got that. So yes, Chris. So we get the Chris Evans moment, and the CGI looked pretty good there.
It did look pretty good. Yeah, there was one moment where he was walking forward, and you could tell his face looked a little funny, but for the most part, it looked good. They take
The red guy's CGI did not look so good in the theater. I saw.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. So then they bring him to their black site. We get a call from Peacemaker. The same lady from Peacemaker is there.
Yes.
Cool. They do the intake. They bring him in and blah blah blah, and then as we're flying, we see him entombed, and we're like, oh, this can't be over because where's our big crescendo? It doesn't happen, and then all of a sudden she realizes they're translating the inscription on the crown back on Hawkman's chest.
Death leads to life.
And then they turn it upside down, and they were like, oh, he wanted to go to the afterworld. And then the crown, the crown.
Basically, he says their version of Shazam, right? And becomes
Mephisto.
No. Sabat.
So then we see this guy. He gets the power. He turns into like a bad guy version of our bad guy, right? So it's like
that guy version.
Version of our bad guy. Yeah, because that's how these anti-hero films work. You need, yes, he's a villain in the comic, but for him to be an anti-hero in the movie, we need someone who's more villainous. Except for, in this case, this guy we don't actually see kill anybody.
You're right. But he
Ishmael, he tried to put a bullet in his head. It's still him.
That's not after he's turned, though. I mean,
he's just more powerful and more.
He does, and he raises the weakest army of the dead in all
ever.
Because,
what was that?
If I could pick up a fight and take out your zombies, you are the wackest necromancer that there ever lived.
The putties and Power Rangers were more of a threat.
You gotta hit them at least more than once. You gotta get sparks out of their chest to knock the putties out. These guys are just like, dink, and then they're out.
We didn't need that part.
That scene was lame.
I mean, we did. And
it wasn't like that moment in the Spider-Man movie where they rally together, and the crowd rallies together around Spider-Man. You feel the tears start well up because it means something. That wasn't what was happening here. This was like, it was the paint by numbers moment. It was, man, I've seen this movie. Yeah, wow, that's X-Men right there. That's Terminator right there. That's this right there. That's that right there. And you're like, there was a handful of redeeming things that made this movie enjoyable. The Rock, for me, Pierce Brosnan. But I'm sorry, I keep derailing.
No, but
Pierce Brosnan,
yeah. We didn't talk about Pierce, but he did. I thought he looked great as Dr. Fate.
Yes, he did.
He was great. I just did not like this version of Dr. Fate. Why you keep taking your helmet off? Why is your power limited to multiplying yourself?
I'm sorry. Have you seen his face? You don't put a mask on that face.
No, but
all the characters kept taking their mask off.
No, but Dr. Fate's helmet, he's possessed when he has it on. It's not even him anymore.
Right.
So he's not supposed to be able. Right? He's not supposed to be willingly able to take it off. It almost allows him to come back when the helmet wants him to.
We're allowing a lot of things to not happen. They're happening. Okay.
That's his whole power. That's like Magneto now can control plastic. It's like, no.
Magneto can't control plastic. What are you talking about?
And Dr. Fate can't take his helmet off at will. It's part of the curse.
Whatever.
So
Man.
so we're
Yeah.
back. So this guy gets his powers. He becomes the bad guy, right? Then Dr. Fate, who's been seeing it, who's been doing his Doctor Strange thing. It's like, I've seen all these different scenarios, and there's one scenario where you live, old friend. Talking to Hawkman.
They did take that from
They definitely did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he
Well.
sees that. He puts a Ghostbusters 2 shield around the temple where the bad guy is. Then he's like, then he transports his mind to Black Adam and tells Black Adam, "This is your time to shine. We need you. Come back." We see Black Adam break out of his thing, and then
Now,
he's fighting.
this was my jump the shark moment. I accepted a lot in this movie, and I was okay with a lot in this movie until regular old 5,000 Egyptian guy starts bringing it to these trained soldiers.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's dodging bullets. Then he has a, what moment was it? Like a gladiator moment where he sees his. He gets out. He goes. It's underwater. He goes in the water. He has a gladiator moment. He sees his family.
Walking
He
to the
realizes
field
now
of
is not
reeds.
my time. And then he's like, what I was hoping for. There was a short Black Adam Shazam movie where he's underwater. I'm not sure if it's that one or one of the Justice League ones where he's underwater and he says it, and then the bubble comes out. And once the bubble pops, it says Shazam, and then it comes down. But he ends up making it to the surface. He says Shazam. He comes back.
He says it with a lot of strength in his voice.
Yeah.
Shazam!
Well, you can't
Like,
just be like, you can't.
Could have been it maybe should have been a whisper.
He's
Because that was
underwater.
his. No, he was on the surface of the water.
Oh,
at
yeah,
that
he
point.
was.
He
It
said-
should
he
have
said
been
it-
underwater.
That should have been his arguably weakest.
His
moment.
vulnerable.
Yeah, my man was shot
Yeah.
multiple times. Like who knows how far down into the water he was, and like low on breath. Come on, his
I don't know.
lungs should have been filled with water.
I don't know
Could have been a
why.
whisper.
When he was running, what we should have got is when he should have taken off that mask, taken out his trach tube as he's running, say Shazam and see it hit, and then all of a sudden he comes like a freight train out of the ocean, bam. But we didn't get that. So anyway, he turns into Shazam. He flies back to the battle. As the battle happens, Dr. Fate ends up getting impaled by.
But he got that new costume, Chris. Talk about that new. He has like a superhero version of the costume.
He
It
does.
looked good too.
It did look good. It did
The
look
gold
good.
with the cape that's just attached with the gold lightning. I'm like, yeah.
That looked good.
Yep.
Now, I will say, there's something funny to me about when a comic book character arrives on screen and he's compared to another comic book character. So, and we've talked about this before, how there's so many that are like duplicates. DC and Marvel have versions of the same guy. So, Doctor Strange, Dr. Fate, are they like so similar?
Yeah.
What's funny about that is everyone's probably watching this movie comparing Dr. Fate to Doctor Strange, but in reality, Dr. Fate came out in the 1940s. Doctor Strange came out like 1968 or something. So it's like this guy had almost 30 years, 3 decades on the other character, but now we're all comparing Pierce Brosnan's to Cumberbatch's.
We are.
Yep.
To the other way around, which is interesting.
Same thing with Darkseid and Thanos.
Darkseid and Thanos. Yep.
So then The Rock fights. We get a short fight. The Rock grabs the dude, grabs him by his horns.
Oh, what a great moment.
So
In-
can I,
Well,
Can I
well,
tell you
what's
guys
so
something?
great about it, he kept going back to grabbing his horns, and I was like, what's he trying to do?
grabbing the bull,
He-
the Brahma bull,
no,
grab the bull by the horns, baby.
He planned to split him in two the whole time. He's like, I'm going for this one move.
He sure did. He had one move. He was committed to it. He was committed to it.
Go
It's like, why is
away.
he grabbing that guy?
My
Split him in
4-year-old.
two.
I thought he was going to rip his horns off. I didn't think he was
Yeah.
going to rip him in two.
My 4-year-old. We're cleaning up, and he grabs a piece of paper. He's like, "Look, Daddy, I'm Black Adam," and he rips a paper.
Wow.
Ah!
Wow. If
And
if Superman had done that, he would have exploded.
He would have, yes, like the
You
meme.
know what I'm talking about?
If you don't know, maybe you should follow our Instagram.
When Superman's he's having a scene with Shazam, right? And so Superman's in chains and he bursts the chains and the chains explode and Shazam flexes to break the chains, but just one link in the chain explodes. He's like, "How do you keep blowing it out?" And then he writes the answer on a piece of paper. It's like, "Because I'm Superman," and then Superman tears the paper and the paper explodes.
Yo.
there. Now for me,
Can we talk about how his powers conveniently were not fast enough or strong enough when he went to go shoot the boy? The villain went to go shoot the boy. We already set the precedence that my man is super fast.
Oh, in the first scene.
but
Yeah.
that gun was point blank range.
No. Rich is right.
Nah,
Rich is
No,
right. They did a
explain it.
flash. They did a Quicksilver slow motion thing where you saw him doing 25 multitask things in the split of a second.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the guy's head's here and the gun's here, that's different.
How's it different?
Nah, explain.
It's catching a bullet that's coming towards me here is different than I got a race and there's this narrow window here.
He didn't even catch it. He seemed like he was flying and it was like taking a lot out of him. Like it was like a very dramatic.
He wasn't expecting it.
I accepted that. That was point blank range. I accepted that.
No, he literally caught a missile. Like
no, yeah, we're talking about speed. We're talking about you have to go that fast and you have this margin to cut. Yeah, you have to stop a bullet from hitting from here to here. That's different than catching a missile.
I'm sorry, you're a ballistic expert? No, you're not. What are you talking about?
No, but I'm a superpower expert, Rich.
No, you are not. You are not. You don't have the answer, Sway. You don't have the answer, Sway. My man was literally displayed how fast he was. Took down a whole army in seconds.
Right, but he didn't stop a bullet. He didn't stop a bullet traveling 3 centimeters.
Wait, but he was moving so fast that he gently puts a grenade in a guy's mouth, who then, after he stops and everything's blown up, the guy realizes it's in his mouth. That's how fast he's moving, that the guy doesn't even have the time to register that someone's wedged in his mouth.
You can put your fingers up all you want. You can put your fingers up all you want.
Yep.
That's the bullet. That's how far the bullet had to travel. Nah, I'm with that.
You can be with it.
So then we're at the end. The bad guys vanquished. All the evil putties are disappeared. Everyone's cheering. We have the champion of Kandahar. Then he's like, sit there. Then he stops and he does the from Pitch Black, the Vin Diesel moment, Pitch Black, where he just ends in the.
No, it's not from Pitch Black, Chris. It's from Black Adam comic.
Yeah, from the comic.
Well, he sits down.
And that shot is iconic. Like,
yes, Chris, it's not from Pitch Black.
Yeah, what a great fan shout out. That shot. Incredible.
This is where I had the problem. I wish he would have been like, this feels right. And that's where you can see, okay, now he's there. You see the villain in him. Then he's like, no. And this feels wrong. And he smashes.
No, because he doesn't want to lead. He doesn't care about that. He just wants.
I kind of wish he would just embrace his country.
He was saying that the whole time.
Yeah, it's also why he's not a villain in this. I mean, he's borderline anti-hero. I mean, no, he's definitely anti-hero in the beginning, but he's super heroic. He's doing. I'm sorry. He's exactly like Terminator. He learns morality throughout the film.
And then he has a catchphrase. Tell Men in Black
it's like
you.
He's as much a hero as Terminator is a hero in Terminator 2.
Yeah,
that's
I can't say that's true. I don't see Black Adam sacrificing himself to save the kid. I see him.
Yes, of course he would have, because the whole thing's about him having a surrogate kid that he lost as a. The whole reason he gives over his power in the first place is because his connection with the kid. He would, in a blink of an eye, would have killed him, given his life to help save that kid.
Yeah,
but he could have. He could have said. He could have always said, "You know what, kid? You are right to lead. Here are my powers." Like he could do that at any time. He doesn't because he's not this hero you're talking about.
But he still could. In fact, I think he kind of does some version of that in the comics. So
he's dying. He did that because he was dying.
An anti-hero.
You get what I'm saying. It's actually not that far-fetched.
Yeah.
Right. But he's not. I'm saying it's not Terminator 2. You taught me how to cry. Thank you. Now I know what love is. It's I never wanted to be king in the first place, so
But
I'm crushing this throne.
Terminator T2 wouldn't have killed himself if it wasn't in his primary objectives that he was
Directive.
programmed with, though. Right? It was his
Well,
directives. He had to do it.
I guess that's the emotion of it. I could
Yeah.
never cry like you can cry.
Well,
That's, you know,
he did learn sarcasm, so that's good.
Well, he did learn, and so did Black Adam.
Kinda.
So then the movie ends. He come up with a new name, and then we see bam, Black Adam.
Black Adam.
And then we get our end credit scene, which we've discussed like 40 times already.
I gotta say that was also pretty lame to me. The need to create and discover the name, and then that's what they had come up with. And also, they could have just called him Adam. The way this movie was scripted, at any point, they could have just called him Adam.
Why?
Why were they struggling with Teth Adam?
Because the Teth is probably some dead language. So they're like, you might want something more modern.
I think it just means like superhuman or mighty human or something.
Maybe.
Dude, you know, this is an Inception. Like you're asking for justifications for things in comic book movies. We just don't. I don't need
Listen,
why.
I'm aware.
Iron Man suit's not iron, so why they call you Iron Man? They should call you like Vibranium Man or something.
Right. I know the movie I went to go watch. I
So
make
what are
no
you
false
talking about?
pretenses here.
So what are you
If I
talking
go
about?
watch, you right. If I'm watching Transformers, I know the content I walked into.
Right, the car turns into a robot. That's the thing. His name's Black Adam in the comics. Why is he called Black Adam? Because it's Black Adam.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what I didn't need was them trying to be invented. And then if you're spend 2 hours trying to find a new name for the guy, that's the name you came up with?
Yeah.
He could have just been called 10th Adam or whatever. I think his name was Theo originally or something like that. They could have just
Theo, what the hell?
It was
think
Teddy.
so.
Yeah, it was Theo Ramses. Theo Ramses, the Juicer, Teth Adam, something like that. So yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
So
looking up here.
so the need to change it, like that's his name. If my name's Jack Walker, right? And you need to change my name, why it's still just my name. You would call me Ted or you would call me Theo, but you wouldn't change my name to a color.
No, he didn't change his name to a color.
You know
The whole term.
That's his name.
The whole term, the man in black sent you. The man in black. The idea of this guy in black brings
I
fear.
get
What are
it.
you going to call me? That's the
sounds
lead.
scary.
We call them
I
Teenage
get it.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Why they teenage? That's the name.
I get it. For me, it just didn't land so well, though. It's like they were really trying to make that a thing. It's like someone had an idea. They were like, this is going to be so good. This is going to be a great moment in the script. Let's play it out. You got to support it. And people were like, I don't know about it. We should let it go. And it's like, no, you got to trust it. You got to trust it. Somehow it made it into the movie and all the way through. And that's how it worked out.
I was fine with it.
Listen, I feel like the biggest problem with this movie for me was the script. The script, it could have just been better. The story could have actually been a story. You could have had some content here. You could have had some. You could have sacrificed some of the cheesy characters and the cheesy moments and the cheesy dialogue, and still been fun. I didn't need
Maybe, or it would have dragged for 45 minutes because they were trying to do something serious.
It was back-to-back action. So look, it delivered what it promises. I think Lawrence made a good analogy. It's a Hulk type movie where you got smashing, you got violence, and you got
absolutely.
And I'm okay with it.
That's what I didn't come for anything more than that, and I'm happy that they did that.
Yeah,
I didn't need more. I feel like DC in their movies suffered by trying to give me so much depth here. Just give me the fight.
Give me violence.
Just the answer is violence. And the cameo at the end, we didn't. What was so amazing about it for me was it wasn't, to me, that wasn't Man of Steel Superman. That was them doing a course correct. We're going to put him in the Man of Steel suit, but we're going to fix the colors.
I was going to say, can we talk about how good his suit looked?
We're gonna fix the colors. We're going to give you the old Superman theme here, letting you know, although this is a Snyder creation, we're changing the tone. And he had the curl in his hair. So they're like, it's the guy you want, but we're repackaging it as the character you grew up with.
So it's like the Daredevil. It's
No, he's
it's
not gonna
still
smash.
Superman, but it's not that. It's still Superman, but it's not. Well, that would be better. Listen, I didn't like the way Superman was depicted in those films. He had no joy.
This is the reverse Daredevil.
That's what I'm saying.
They're re-engineering it to be
Hey,
the
I'll
guy.
be down for that. I'll be down for that. And the world is already way bigger. You get the feeling in this that this world is huge. There's all these other characters. It is the world of Peacemaker. So you have Starro, you have all these intergalactic things. It's not Batman and Superman, where it's like Superman was the first one on the scene. That's not what we're seeing.
It's a big world.
And to what Rich says this all the time. For me, it was these heroes are always saving the world from some threat anyway.
Sure.
And that's how it is in comics. So why does Superman show up in his Wonder Woman comic? Because in his comic, he's stopping the world from being destroyed too. Superman's probably not sitting around on his couch seeing what's going on in this country on the edge of the earth. He's probably out somewhere saving the world as well. Probably that's how I justify. That's how you almost have to justify why the heroes don't show up every single time. Mm-hmm. Why the X-Men don't show up when the Fantastic Four is like struggling to save New York. It's because they're probably in some pocket universe, you know?
Yeah, because they live in New York.
Right. So Superman at the end, I was with it. It looked dope. I just know they don't really have a plan, but hopefully they'll get one.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Should we wait this night? I tell you what's lame is if this ends up being like, what was the cameo? Oh, Venom had Spider-Man in the end of it, right? Mm. And it meant nothing. Or I'm sorry, Spider-Man had Venom in the end of it.
Venom had Spider-Man at the end.
Yeah, Venom had Spider-Man.
Right. Whatever it was, it meant nothing because it ultimately was nothing.
I'll tell you what this cameo is. This cameo is Nick Fury showing up at the end of Iron Man 1. They did not have a plan. They didn't have a plan. They shot the ollie and somebody dunked it, but they just kind of threw it up. They didn't have a plan for any phases or anything yet. This is that. The ball's in your court. We threw it up for you. You can dunk it.
Considering how they've trashed everything else they've been working on, maybe they'll run this direction.
I hope so.
Well, that's that. They did not trash. Aquaman made $1 billion. Wonder Woman was dope. Shazam was fun.
No. That's not what I meant. I meant new content coming out that's not coming out. They literally put it in the trash.
Oh, you meant literally? Yeah, they did trash. You're right. We'll see, man. I think at the end of the day, The Flash is the movie that has to come out. That's the movie that justifiably reboots the universe using time travel. Like that's Flashpoint. You can fix it without having to. You have a reason to artistically go in and erase things. But we'll see. Let's rate it. What you guys give it?
8. I loved it.
What?
I loved it. I loved it. So strong. I love it. I love it.
This is his new Venom
number right now.
Yeah, okay. What did you give? What did you give the Batman?
Like a 9?
Black Adam and the Batman are only a point difference?
I love Black Adam. It was just a good time. Sometimes not everything has to be content heavy. Sometimes it could just be a good time. And you rate it on how much fun you had watching it.
I love Chris. Chris brings it back to being a child.
How much fun did you have? Where was the fun that you were getting out of all this? Like,
what? You see all these people getting thrown around and dying and getting.
That was a bit of it, but it got old after a while. I'm not gonna lie.
I got old. Yeah. I'm the guy who likes Monster Jam, bro. That's
true. Awesome. That is okay. You know what? I take back everything I just said. You're right. You're right.
Rich, he's been talking about Venom for 4 years straight.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of talking. I don't know what's the word, facetiously.
Oh no, he's dead serious about Venom.
Oh yeah,
and he's. I give it a 5.
Wow. Okay.
Average for real.
Hey, Jack said it first, people. I was going to give it a 5 too.
The CGI is great. The Rock is phenomenal in the suit. I love the violence in the movie. The way it's depicted is. I appreciated it. I really, really appreciated that they went as far as they went with some of the stuff. I thought Pierce Brosnan was the best part in the film with a paper thin role. I mean, there was nothing for him to go off of in that script, and
A
he
little
was.
too nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's just nothing. The whole script was just so paper thin that the elements they did have felt every one of them felt like a cheap ripoff or knockoff to me. So what listen, I really enjoyed watching it, but this movie's a 5 at best, and that's no knock to The Rock. I mean, I'm a huge Rock. Dwayne Johnson's great. I support anything he's in, and I hope they make another Black Adam movie. But this script was the story was weak. Story was weak. The movie's a 5 for me.
That's strong, man, because I'll give you some context. I'm trying to look it up, but I feel like, I mean, we gave the Samaritan a 4. And you're telling me the Samaritan and Black Adam have like a 1-point difference?
I'm basing this off of. I'm not basing it off of the budget. I'm
No, I'm not talking
talking
about budget. I'm talking about story. You said
I know,
story
but
wise,
the
Samaritan and
difference
Black.
between the Samaritan and this is largely budget. You look at the effects. You look at the story is about as paper thin as Samaritan though. The Rock's performance is captivating. He's always been captivating. You know, he kind of does one thing the whole movie though. If I'm being a jerk, he
Yeah.
does what is The Rock smelling. It's like he's been working on this role his entire career. So it's not like he added another level of nuance and depth. In fact, I'd say Jumanji had more depth to the role than this, but I enjoyed him in this. Like it's such good casting for
We
him.
gave Samaritan a 4 because they broke their own rules, and not just their story was thin; it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that Samaritan and Black Adam have a 1-point difference?
Yeah, they're paper thin scripts.
Ooh, man. Okay. Well, Chris
Listen.
thinks it's close to the Batman, and you think it's close to Samaritan. This is serious.
Rich, where you stand?
He's giving it a 2. Look at him.
I'm gonna give it a 5 too. Like it's average out here. Like it's just it's a whole lot of violence, which is fun for a while, but then after that, it's like, what are we doing? Pierce Bronson should have had something going on besides what he did.
That
What he had
character was way too cool.
Yeah, like
right.
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah. Dr. Fate's supposed to be going insane or whatever, be possessed. I like a little bit of what Pierce Bronson brought to it, but he should have done a little bit more. I don't think he really knew the role.
He did the role they wrote.
Yeah, so
yeah. I mean, but
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
And then Adam Smasher was a waste.
A liability.
Yeah.
Why is he here?
He was a waste.
So cheap.
What was it, Red Tornado? Or no, she went to watch Cyclone.
Cyclone.
She was a waste. I mean, she did a little techno wizardry and healed a bullet wound and a concussion, which technically she didn't do anything. Like she just let the machine do it. But like she was literally throwing like scaffolding pipes.
Like she did nothing in that fight.
Like what were you? Just go back to the ship and do whatever it is that you were doing before. Wait for the injured to come. And then Hawkman was just like,
what was Hawkman's character? Was so weak.
Was he like a billionaire? Is Hawkman a billionaire? Like, educate me real quick. Is Hawkman like a playboy billionaire?
I don't think he's a playboy, but I know he's had different incarnations. He's Carter Hall, like he's reincarnated and stuff. So he could have money. I mean, he could.
Okay, I guess. But him being part of the we're not going to call it the X-Men. I'll call
Justice
it the
Society.
Justice Society of Wayward Heroes, I guess. I mean, because that's what he had. He had the scraps, with the exception of Dr. Fate. But yeah, my man was just real.
But
Boy Scout.
Fate was depicted as a washed up hero at this point.
Yeah, because he came out of retirement. Yeah. But yeah, he was like, I mean, you would think that a black man would be able to come into a situation like Kandar and be able to see what's happening, what's going on, and be like, wait a minute, maybe I got this wrong. But my man just went up in there and was like, nah, yo, you come with us, or we taking you, or or we killing you, whatever the case may be.
And Rich, you bring
They
a
were
very good
so
point.
committed. They were so committed to this being a big fight scene where everyone can
Right.
fight that they lost the whole plausibility of the characters they were trying to set up in the first place.
And Rich, you bring up a good point. This is why I say I don't agree with colorblind casting, because they wrote Hawkman, who was white in the comics, and they didn't add in sensibilities of what it would be like for a black man going to that situation. Like you said, would be a little bit more sensitive to government oppression and people being overlooked. You just
Right.
you would just see it, and they didn't write that for him. Oh yeah, yeah.
And especially being a black hero that's been reincarnated through how many timelines? Like, I mean, I would imagine that at some point in time he might have been a slave somewhere in there. But I'm just it just wasn't hitting for me. It really wasn't. I was like, I'm getting tired of this dude. Is he going to die? I was kind of hoping that he died.
But he was written so one dimensionally. Hawkman should have been the character we were all identifying with, honestly. But he was written as one dimensional conflict for Black Adam. So
The
every
guy they
time,
want us to identify with.
yeah, but every time Hawkman walked on screen, he said something that was like, why is he saying that? He just wants to fight everybody? Like he wanted to fight more than than Black Adam wanted to fight. Hawkman just wanted to fight. That's what he wanted to do.
So Rich, you gave it 5.
I'm giving it a 5, yeah, man.
I'm giving this thing a strong 7.5. I enjoyed it. I think it set up what it wanted to do. I enjoyed Hawkman. I think this is the heroes that are here to fight. He's not a wonderful leader, and I'm okay with that. I liked, because you need to root for Black Adam. That's the point. So how do you take heroes but not make them the ones you root for? Is they are brash, and your heroes actually are the bad guys. It's kind of like the story. Is like, whose side do you think you're on, and you find out whose side you're really on. And I mean, the cameo of Superman coming back at the end gives it a 7. Easy. Superman is back in the world. You got Superman versus Black Adam. Guys, we live in a world.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Wait.
Go, I'm gonna throw a flag on that, because you said that it could possibly mean nothing that Superman is here. But now you're saying
The fact that I saw him on screen for 5 seconds is giving it a 7.
He's kind of, listen, I mean, I've watched that post-credit scene
so
100 times.
That's it. And for me, I remember a time when we didn't get this stuff. So the fact that we even have a Black Adam movie with a Justice Society in the movie is like, what are we doing here? Like, this is stuff we shouldn't even have. Like, we have Dr. Fate in a feature film. Guys, this would never happen.
I'm sorry, but is it too much to ask for it better?
Maybe it's a spoil of riches. It's like we're so used to end games and all this stuff. We feel like these $200 million blockbuster movies. Sometimes this movie said, The Rock said, the power dynamic of the DC is going to change. You're going to see me coming here and tear stuff up. I went into a movie where they said I'm going to see him tear stuff up. He tore stuff up. They didn't say I was coming in to see an emotionally moving movie. They didn't say I'm going to come in for a spellbinding movie experience. They said you're going to come in.
I don't even want that. Right. I just want characters to do well-scripted things.
They said you're going to come in and see Black Adam beat people up. And I came in and saw Black Adam.
You can't fault that. You got giant robots transforming, then you get what you pay for. Dude. But if you get what you pay for, that still doesn't make the content good. Just because you're getting what they agreed to give you doesn't mean that it's still good.
Good is right? Good is a measurement. It depends.
That's art is subjective, of course.
Is Power Rangers good? They made it for kids. It's on Fox. They're fighting putties in silly costumes. Is it good for what it set out to do? Absolutely. Is it Inception? No. It wasn't supposed to be. Is Thor a good superhero movie? No.
So you gave it.
Is it what it set out to do? Absolutely. So that's what makes it good. I give it a 7.5. I got The Rock in a Black Adam costume squaring off against Superman. Well, after he fought Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and God, like, what are we doing? This is like my freaking comic books bursting on the screen. You guys are tripping. I
Rich, I will say this.
Open up the
He's right.
screen.
Henry Cavill is in the suit. And
Yeah,
he's in the suit for even 3 seconds is still Superman on screen for 3 seconds. And that suit looked, in my opinion, better than we'd seen him in any other content. Right?
Facts.
He
I
felt
mean, listen,
heroic.
I'm not
Landed
denying that.
heroic.
Not denying that at all, but
I mean, if that
that's
scene
not
was an
carrying the whole
indication,
thing.
no, it's not. But that scene, listen, if that scene was just an indication of the movie, I might say, 7 or 8 myself. But
Let me
the
tell you something.
movie was
When the
not.
Bulls are in the playoffs and you got Michael Jordan who has the flu and they're almost neck and neck the whole time and he hits like that half court 3-pointer shot, I don't care about the first 3 quarters. That last second of the game became the iconic moment. That's the iconic moment. That last touchdown, that last jump shot, that last finale. The finale is part of the movie. You can't remove it. Now, if it didn't move you, that's fine. That's fine. It didn't move you. But for me, I'm looking at graphic novels pop up on the screen right in front of me. And they're my favorite characters. And seeing The Rock in a superhero costume that looked like he could be Superman as a black man, as a black kid, I saw that on the screen. How much that would change my mindset? Dude,
Yeah, well,
come on. This is 7.5 E. We got a person
all
of
right.
color flying around with a cape, beating up oppressors. 7.5.
Go wrong with that. Yeah, you're right on that.
7.5.
That might just be a 10 alone. So we got a 7.5 and 8, 5 and 5. So the 3 brother official stamp is 6.375. We'll say 6.4. We'll say 6.5. Sound fair? 6.5.
It has to be.
I mean, that's kind of what it rounds to after you round and then round again.
You read a whole lot of rounding. It has to be.
All right. We'll get Chris to sign off on that. Chris, you agree? Say nothing if you agree. Great. So 6.5 for Black Adam. And I think that's more than fair.
I don't think me and Chris would think so, but
I think you do. I mean, deep
fair.
down, you're gonna reflect on this conversation, and
No,
a year from now, as our conversations tend to go,
you're gonna
call
rewatch
me up
that
in the
cameo. You're
you're
gonna
gonna
rewatch
call me
that
up in the
cameo
middle of the
30
night,
more
Lawrence,
times
2
and
years
go,
from now, and you're gonna go, Jack. I've been thinking about it for 2 years, and I think 6.5 is pretty fair.
you're gonna be like, "Did you see him in that suit?" I said, "Yeah." You gave the movie a 5. Did you see?
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
gave it a 5 because Superman was in it.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
I want to go back and see what you gave Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. I want to see if it's.
I should have gave that a -5.
But you probably gave it a 6.
I probably gave it a score that was way more than it deserved.
And that's
if I gave it anything that registered now, and that's what happens. You sit and you think about a thing. I might sit and think about a thing and go, maybe this was a 7, or maybe it was a 6. But right now I'm feeling a 5. When I go back and I think about Strange, that number just keeps getting lower and lower and lower.
A lot of movie critics were way more harsher with this film than Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor
Do you know
Strange:
why?
Multiverse of Madness.
You know why?
Why?
I think we all know why.
Well, the mouse rules, but I also think Marvel has conditioned us. Like we're conditioned, and everybody wants to be on the right side of their critique. So I'm like, I don't know if Black Adam's that much worse than Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it's like, I don't think you can give it a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes and you give Doctor Strange 70%.
No, Doctor Strange is whack, and there's such a big disparity between what the fans are saying and the critics are saying. And who the hell is a critic, anyways? Right now, we're critics, but we're just fans.
We're part of the fans.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of The Rock. I'm a fan of the content. I'm gonna watch the next one comes out. I hope there's the next one that comes out, but it doesn't change the way I'm a guy who likes stories told well, and it's because I don't know. It's all opinionated, right? I'm just one more jerk with his jerk opinions on the subject, but I care enough to care. So
that's it.
Are we just buying time for Chris to come back?
No, we can end it. Thank y'all so much for watching this review. Let us know in the comment section if you agree, disagree. What are your favorite moments? What moments did you hate? Let us know. We'll be back. We got so many videos here. Check them out in the playlist. We also got a podcast. Check that out. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. Dropping content all the time. We'll be back. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Peace.
The Rock's in the building.
Boom! What's up, y'all? Welcome to Three Brothers and a Shot of Milk. We're talking